The pick is in.
The Kansas City Chiefs have made a selection in the 2024 NFL Draft. Alongside Locked On College Football host Spencer McLaughlin, I am Tanitra Batiste, and we are joined by Chris Clark of Locked On Chiefs to break down the Chiefs selecting Xavier Worth with the number 28 pick. So, Chris, Chiefs made some moves on the draft board tonight. What did you think about the moves that they made?
I just have to first say I'm kind of dumbfounded that they traded with the Bills. Happy that they did it. Don't get me wrong, but it's the Bills, and it just was surprising it happened that way. Yeah. They gave up pick number 95. Well, 32, obviously, 95 and 221, I believe, and they got back 133 and 248. So they basically moved back around from 95 to 133, and they moved back in the 7th round from 221 to 248. So overall, I thought it was a good trade. I think that not a ton of value given up for Kansas City. Yeah, they're moving out of the top 100, but it's a position of need. And I think that when you look at what happened right after that, receivers went a couple picks after. So I think they really got where they wanted to go.
Indeed. And you make a great point just about the receivers and who was going to go where as far as the second run of receivers, obviously, after the earlier run of Adunze, Neighbors, and, of course, Harrison Jr. So in this run, what do you think was the most attractive aspect of Worthy's game for the Chiefs?
Speed, and more speed. 4.2140. It's really hard to beat that. And, I tweeted this out right after the pick. One of the things that I like about Xavier Worth is it's not just straight speed. I mean, he has that, but it's ball tracking too. That is one of the things that's been definitely underrated when you start talking about deep speed and deep threats is the ability to track the ball. If you look back what the Chiefs had with MVS, he never could track the ball, and that really cost them multiple different times with big plays. And Worthy's ability to track the ball, I think, is going to be huge for them.
Indeed. And what are some of the areas? Because obviously, like you said, with the departure of Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you obviously have a need there. But what do you see in terms of maybe the areas where they'll need to look to improve Worthy in this first season where he's really going to need to be ready day one?
He is going to need to be ready day one, but I do think that, you watch what Andy Reid said and Brett Veach said after they picked him. I think they're also going to use him in the return game, which I think is a fantastic idea, especially with the new changes to the NFL kickoff rules. Yeah. I think that's going to be fun to watch. But they talked about him needing to gain probably 10 to 15 pounds. But he's 20 years old. He's 5'11". He's 165. I think he played at 165, or that's what he weighed at the combine. They're wanting him to get to about 175. I do think that that's easily doable. If he loses a couple of tenths of seconds off the 40 time or hundredths of the seconds off the 40 time, it's not going to be that big of a deal. He's still going to have a ton of speed, and I think that's what's important. But he's a very tough wide receiver, and he does very well running routes as well.
Yeah, and that obviously would make him even more durable. For more on the Chiefs, subscribe to Locked On Chiefs on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. So, Spencer, when you look back at what Worthy was able to do in his college days, what would you say was the most impressive thing that you saw him do during his days at Texas?
His introduction to the college football world was taking a bubble screen, running through 3 Oklahoma defenders, one with a stiff arm, ran through 2 with straight speed, and then took it 70 yards to the house. That was like the first play of the game, or the Red River Showdown a couple of years ago. That's Xavier Worthy in a nutshell. Like that. That's just what he brings to the table. And could it be a more perfect fit? You're talking about a guy whose skills are ball tracking, elite speed, take the top off of defense. Well, who do you want to put that with? It's one of 3 guys, one of 4 guys maybe. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. Those are the guys. And he's with, maybe the best quarterback we've ever seen, who's got quite the deep ball. I think this is going to give shades of Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs, and I think he's a real player for them as they go for their 3rd straight Super Bowl. I don't see how he's not involved with the offense.
I'm just going to give you 3 words as we wrap up: embarrassment of riches. For continuing coverage of the 2024 NFL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.